the Disability Services Unit of the Office of Deputy Director, Student Development and Community Engagement, IUM, Brother Nur Arif Jasmine, postgraduate student from the Department of Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, Ahas KIKHS IUM, Brother Wan Abdul Hadi, Wan Rasid, undergraduate student of the Kuliah of Engineering IIUM, Associate Professor Dr. Hasna Toran, former Director of Genius Kurnia, Associate Professor Dr. Sofia Samsudin, Department of Al-Quran and As-Sunnah, Ahas KIKHS IUM, Associate Professor Dr. Aida Mokhtar, Department of Communication, Ahas KIKHS IIUM, Sister Khairia Abdul Razak, Clinical Psychologist from the Counseling and Career Services Centre IIM, Brother Muhammad Zaim Nur Zaini, student of Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Law, as well as a volunteer at the Disability Services Unit and IIM Ibnu Umi Maktoum Club, IMAC. Welcome to our alumni lounge, as well as academicians, administrative staff, students, and all guests who are present with us on this blessed Friday evening, whether physically or online. Welcome to our event in conversation on students with autism, understanding autism in higher education in conjunction with the World Autism Awareness Day 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, this event is co-organized by the Disability Services Unit, Sejahtera Centre for Sustainability and Humanity IAM, and Alumni Relations Division, all of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. For your information, on the recent 20th of March, Sejahtera Week was launched in conjunction with the International Happiness Day for this year, which will be ending today with this important event that we are having. However, none of us are truly happy until all of us are happy, thriving and succeeding with our respective unique abilities and capabilities. Leaving no one behind in education means creating an education ecosystem that is safe, inclusive, and empowering for all members of the institution and beyond, with no exception. There are people among us who are differently able, such as having autism. So to understand the dynamics around this special group better, specifically in the context of higher education, we are very blessed to have with us today students, scholars, parents, and volunteers to share their experiences, knowledge, as well as perspective. It is my honor to welcome the head of Disability Services Unit of the ODRCDCE IIM, Professor Dr. Rizita Muhammad Amin, who will be the moderator to commence the panel discussion and conversation. Please welcome, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Hidayu. All right, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all our distinguished speakers, right? Our students here with around in UIA, our student with disabilities, and our volunteers. Yeah, it's very nice to have all of you here today. This event is called In Conversation with students with autism. Yeah, understanding autism in higher education. As we know, tomorrow is actually the World Autism Awareness Day. Yeah, 2nd of April. But because tomorrow is a Saturday, we have it today. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. So, so as we know, it is a very important celebration, right? To celebrate the presence of our, students, our staff, as well as other persons with autism, right? To celebrate their presence. And in IIM itself, we have 7 students with autism. Yeah, at the moment, we have 85 students with disabilities, with various types of disabilities. We have Sister Aswani here. She's the Vice President of our IMAC. Yeah, IIM Ibnu Umi Maktoum Club is a mouthful. Okay, and we have also Brother Adam. Yeah, he was the former president of the club, yeah? And as presented by Sister Hidayu, all the rest of our speakers. Yeah? So we are very pleased and very honored to have everyone here to share our discussion. We also have from Educare. Thank you, Puan Adiba, yeah, the General Manager from our Educare, with the other officers as well. We welcome you to our event, and all our, and Brother Mohidin from Sejahtera Centre. We thank Sejahtera Centre for collaborating this event with us. This is, I think, the first event that we're collaborating together. Hopefully we can have many more to come, inshallah. And also from the alumni unit, yeah, Sister Hida, yeah, from the alumni unit, and Brother Aiman, okay, who's assisting us for collaborating with us as well for this event today. Okay, so we are talking about in conversation with students with disabilities, students with autism. Yeah, so I think you know, in order for this, we need to understand what is autism. It's actually a neurodevelopmental disorder. Yeah, so it is actually a brain development disorder that affects the behavior of an individual, that affects the communication and social skills of the person. Yeah, so it is nothing to do with, you know, gangguan jin or whatever, nothing to do with that. Okay, all right. So no gangguan jin. Yeah, so that's not the cause of autism. So medically it has been, you know, found. Okay, research has found that there is a neurological disorder. Okay, so I think in order for us to get an insight, yeah, into what autism is all about, you know, because for students, people with autism faces a lot of challenges, yeah, because this is a hidden disability. It is not a visible disability. So some people, you know, they cannot see, you know, a person with disability, with autism as a person with a disability because they don't see it as visible. Yeah, because they look like any other people. So how come they're considered to be a disabled person, you know, having a disability? But the fact is that they do have a disability, right? It affects their social functioning, yeah. It affects their daily activities as well. So, but of course, it is a spectrum. We're not saying that all persons with autism are the same. No 2% with autism are the same, yeah. So it is a spectrum from the very severe to the very mild, yeah. So we cannot generalize, and you know, every time we talk about person with autism, sometimes we tend to visualize, you know, the severe cases of autism, the ones that we are, you know, always exposed to, sometimes in the social media, sometimes on the regular media, right? So I think we need to be aware that autism spectrum disorder is a spectrum, yeah. So it is, we cannot generalize in terms of the characteristics, right? And in terms of for the students also, when they reach university, that is why there are some who can actually reach the university level, right? Because intellectually they can still perform, right? They can still perform academically. So like for instance, in our university, as I mentioned just now, we have 7 students with autism, yeah? 5 in our main campus, 2 in CFS, right? Alhamdulillah, Brother Nur Arif here next to me here, he just graduated this year in our 36th convocation. Our first graduate with autism. At first we thought it was Adam because Adam came with, you know, that his Asperger. So we know that, you know, we knew that from the start that he has autism, but Arif was diagnosed much later, right? With the help of Sister Khairia, our clinical psychologist. Then maybe we can hear the stories later on. Yeah? We have also Brother Hadi. Brother Hadi is also diagnosed in UIA itself, right? And interestingly, he was diagnosed by his lecturer, right? And it's like because his lecturer has got a son with autism, right? So he actually identified some of the characteristics in Hadi, and you know, he suspected that there is something different with Hadi. So he brought Hadi to our office at the Disability Services Unit. So we had a discussion with Dr. Aida. Welcome, Dr. Aida. Thank you very much. Dr. Aida is our coordinator at the DSU and also a special parent. Yeah. So that's when we identified Dr. Hadi, and we referred to counseling, and Dr. Hadi also got his OKU card. And you know, we managed to support him after that. So I think without further ado, maybe I think it's good for us to listen to our students themselves, what they experience. And maybe I can start with Arif. Arif, I will mix BM and English, because some of us nak cakap English kan? Oh, nak cakap Hadi cakap dulu. Okay, boleh. Okay. Alright. So Hadi cakap dulu. Boleh Hadi? Boleh. Okay. Alright. So I'll ask Hadi on request of Arif. Okay. Okay, Hadi. So you know, once you're diagnosed with autism, kan? Even before you were diagnosed with autism, kan? Come and find. If I'm baru okay. Alright. So how what are the challenges that you face as a student with autism? Yang mungkin dari segi pelajaran, or other issues that you face.
Like myself, challenge for me is I cannot sit for a long time.
Okay.
I cannot see a long time. Like I sit that here, I will shake my hand. Like I cannot. I when like I want to focus in class, I cannot really focus. Like and when like macam because ada presentation kan, like saya nak presentation pun rasa takut, like nervous. Dia macam berani pergi depan, tapi when to spoke up, like tergagap. Even kalau saya cakap dengan Adam face to face pun, saya boleh loading nak cakap. Lepas tu, but luckily after my third year, supposedly I don't know, I don't have autism, but during my primary school time, I confused why my parents hantar saya pergi ke pusat disleksia at first. Pusat disleksia. And then from that I know my mom told me that time saya besar, I'm not like a normal kid. Like macam even 3 tahun pun saya still merangkak, tak boleh jalan. Bercakap pun tak boleh, even tak boleh bercakap pun, like normal baby.
Late development ya.
Even saya ni pun walaupun saya umur 25 macam, saya rasa macam saya bukan diri pun 25. Saya rasa macam most of the time saya rasa macam saya ni childish.
About umur macam mana guys?
Macam Tina, macam 50.
Alright.
Itulah, luckily, alhamdulillah, during my third year, Dr. Swaziland, my lecturer met tu, seems like nampak saya macam saya ni ada problem. Tu daripada situ, DSU datang tolong, and then kurangkan kredit hour. Daripada situ saya dapat tingkatkan saya punya CGPA.
Alhamdulillah. That's good. I remember when Dr. Azlan brought you, I think, the one he detected you because you were sweating kan masa nak jawab soalan mathematics kan. You were sweating at that time, yeah. So but he detected it lah, alhamdulillah. So memang rezeki you lah, insyaAllah, alhamdulillah kan. Okay, so dari situ masa you macam tangan bergetar and so on tu, ada tak reaksi daripada kawan-kawan ke yang negatif ke? Tak ada? Tak ada ya? Okay, that's good. Tapi apa harapannya dari segi sokongan daripada kawan-kawan, daripada lecturer kan? What kind of things that you expect, you harapkan daripada mereka? Ada tak?
Sebab so far kalau saya mengaku saya like a slow learner. Then but most of the lecturer seems like I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
Seems like a normal person. Ni bukan autistic ni. Okay, like saya continue like normal person. Walaupun macam tu.
Yes. Sebab tadi as I said kan, it's a hidden disability. Jadi ramai yang tak faham kan that the disability is there tapi tak nampak kan. So actually kita ada bagi tahu lah all lecturers sebenarnya dia ada dalam class list dia tu memang dah ada indicator kan. Siapa student-student yang okay itu memang ada highlighted. So they know lah the disabled students, and we normally give to the kuliah the list of students with disabilities, what type of disabilities kan, and then the support, the kind of support tu we give individually. Okay, that one is tailored to the students lah. Yeah, but
can I ask Hadi a question? What is your feelings receiving a diagnosis at an adult age?
Receiving adult age lah. Macam I don't know how to describe, like when first time I went, macam, I don't know, like happy pun ada juga. Tambah-tambah pula, when I diagnose tu, remember tak Prof yang kita pergi sekolah apa?
Dekat mata kornea, where you were lah. Masa tu that's now ada director lagi masa tu. Yes.
Sekolah tu, like saya tengok happy je budak-budak kat situ. Saya tengok tu pun saya macam happy. So macam saya macam tak terkilan lah. Tak terkilan diagnose tu. Sebab saya tengok budak-budak situ semua happy. Orang pun jago saya.
Alhamdulillah. I think mungkin in a way because you know that you understand what's going on with you sebenarnya kan. When you are diagnosed, jadi you faham kenapa you are like that, why you having the problems. Is that right?
Yeah.
So then with that tu kita boleh intervene lah and bagi the necessary support for you kan. So for the audience information, we also have in UAE we allow students to take less than the minimum credit hours, and they also have flexible graduation period. So we don't have any maximum graduation period for our students with disabilities kan, because sometimes they require additional time because of their impairment and the disability. They cannot take the regular load because it is very taxing on them. Very taxing for him. It's more of the learning part, right? For those with visual impairment, it's the visual part. It's very taxing on them and can give them a lot of headaches as well. So that's the reason why it's applicable to all our undergraduates as well as our postgraduate students as well.
And then I want to add on during the diagnosis. Besides I got my autism, I also have ADHD. But not ADHD physical. Like kalau ADHD physical, like budak terlalu hyperactive kan. But saya internal.
ADD.
Macam saya rasa hyper dalam diri. Saya tak boleh stay.
Okay. Alright. Thank you very much Hadi for sharing. Maybe nanti kita tambah-tambah lah kalau ingat kemudian kau nak tambah ke. It's just casual conversation that we have kan. Arif, are you ready to share? Oh, nak minum? Okay. Alright. Okay. Mungkin Dr. Hasna, you want to say something first ke atau while
right. I think Prof. Rosita has explained what autism is. She did a good job explaining it. And we need to understand that the clinical term for autism is autism spectrum disorder. The word spectrum there means that autism manifests itself in various ways with various characteristics. I have two sons with autism, and even though they have the same parents, they have very different characteristics. My eldest, who's 27, on top of autism, he also have intellectual disability. We believe that his IQ is low, though we never bothered to do any IQ test, but based on our observation. And he also has apraxia. So the thing that makes autism difficult to understand is the spectrum within autism, and the other thing is the comorbidity. For example, Hadi explained that he was diagnosed with autism and ADD. Not the case, but some kids with autism, some individuals with autism, they have autism and it comes with another disorder. It could be ADD, ADHD, it could be dyslexia, it could be hyperlexia, apraxia, it could be other forms of learning disabilities. So that's the reason why teachers find students with autism difficult to understand. And even parents, sometimes I see parents and you would have thought that, as their children grow, their understanding of the children would grow as well. But I have met parents whose children with autism are in their teenage years, and the parents are still struggling to understand their children. And I find that quite sad. And we don't point fingers to parents. We have to admit that our support for parents is not, we don't have enough support for parents. And we try our best, but most parents have to look for information on their own. So that is sad. And it's very important for us to make sure that parents totally understand the children, the quirkiness of their children. Then they will know how to go about providing support for their children. So I think that's my point at the moment here, the fact that autism is difficult to understand due to the spectrum and also the comorbidity.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true. I think that's also the reason why maybe initially sometimes there's misdiagnosis as well.
Yes.
Sometimes it's very difficult to diagnose.
And I find that for most people, it's easier for them to accept the fact that their children have been diagnosed with ADHD rather than autism. They feel that somehow ADHD is a lighter diagnosis to handle.
The stigma.
But the thing is that there's a big difference between ADHD and autism, because autism impacts an individual's social communication and social interaction. And with ADHD is the attention deficit, is the hyperactiveness, and they are prone to being impulsive. So it's a totally different disorder. The similarity that both autism and ADHD have is that they are hidden disabilities. So it's very easy to mix the diagnosis.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Thank you, Tasna. I'll get back to you again after this, right? So, Arif, dah ready dah cerita? Boleh cerita sedikit? Tentang apa cabaran-cabaran yang Arif hadapi kan sebagai student with autism. Dari segi pelajaran ke?
Tanyalah soalan.
Okey, dari segi pelajaran apa yang masalah Arif hadapi? Kalau dari segi pembelajaran. Arif boleh faham tak kalau lecturer explain banyak-banyak dekat dalam kelas, tak faham? So, Arif buat apa kalau tak faham?
Tidur.
Okay. Alright. So, dia jadikan Arif pening ke macam mana kalau banyak-banyak information tu? Dia pening ke? Ya. Kalau macam Arif nak kena tengok muka surat berapa kan? Senang tak Arif nak cari muka surat? Katalah muka surat 70 ke kat buku. Kalau kat lecturer suruh tanya Arif kan, buka muka surat 70.
Dalam pesara tu datang, tolong carikan.
Tolong carikan ya, sebab Arif susah nak cari sendiri kan?
Sebab dia tu suruh buka muka surat yang 100. Tapi macam mana nak kira daripada 1? Macam dalam exam tu. Nombor tu 70. Tapi taklah magic tu ada banyak, ada beratus. Tapi saya nombor 70. Tapi macam mana nak cek? Tapi nombor tu bermula daripada 1. Saya pun carilah. Saya pun pergilah meja 1. Saya pun pergi meja 1 tu, saya jalan lah. Pusing-pusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Saya jalan. Sampai jumpa 70. Saya pun duduk. Tapi waktu saya berjalan tu, ramai sister tu semua tengok. Tak tahulah kenapa.
Sister je tengok.
Waktu jalan daripada meja 1 tu, saya pusing. Sister tu tengok. Tapi sebab bahagian depan tu ramai sister yang duduk atas, yang duduk di dalam periksa. Sebab perempuan pandai, sebab tu ramai masuk universiti. Jadi laki tu sikit. Sebab tu bila saya berjalan daripada nombor 1, ada sister yang nampak, sebab sister tu yang banyak masuk universiti.
Tapi sister tu baik kan kat daring? Baik tak?
Taklah, dia cuma tengok je.
Dia tengok je. Okey, alhamdulillah. Okey, kalau katalah Arif dapat tugasan kan, tugasan, katalah buat research paper. Sekarang buat masters kan, buat research paper, dia tak banyak menghafal. Macam katalah macam apa tu, mungkin certain subjek yang dulu banyak hafalan kan, tapi sekarang ni research paper ada kena buat sendiri. So macam mana apa tu lecturer bantu Arif untuk buat research paper tu?
Oh, cakap satu-satu dah. Oh, hari ni, minggu ni cakap lah suruh buat suruh buat pendahuluan tu. Minggu kedua tu suruh dah buat yang bahagian yang pertama. Minggu ketiga tu suruh dah buat bahagian ketiga. Tapi jangan bagi yang tajuk banyak tu. Sebab itu tak ada membandingkan buat rasa nak muntah je.
Pening kepala ya Arif, nak muntah. Jangan muntah kat sini. Tak ada saja usia Arif. Apa tu kalau misal kata Arif kena buat paper yang buat menaip kan? Menaip, kena menaip tu tengok komputer, nak type pakai keyboard, atau nak tengok buku reference lagi. Senang tak Arif nak gunakan, nak menaip macam tu?
Oh,
senang tak?
taklah sebab tak senang. Oh, sebab huruf tu jauh. Oh, perkataan contoh tu perkataan tafsir tu ada 5 huruf. Saya tulislah, saya cari data. Saya cari fa, cari sin, ya dan ro. Tapi nak cari tu lama sebab keyboard tu warna hitam tak nampak. Ya. Tapi tak dapat tulis banyak. Tapi satu hari tu dapat setengah, dapat separuh muka surat.
That's how long they take kan, sebab of the apa tu issues that they face. It takes very long for them to do assignments and so on. That's why kita bagi dia extra time.
Oh, sebab keyboard tu besar. Huruf tu berpisah jauh.
So Arif lebih mudah pakai handphone ke untuk type?
Ada Rosita belikan keyboard. Keyboard tu yang huruf kecil.
Ya, okay. Senang tak pakai yang tu?
Oh, senang.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, so we try to, this issue about the typing sebenarnya kita discover pun through conversation tau, because kita tak tahu. Sebab dia pun tak tahu it's a problem. They don't know it's a problem. So, and kita pun tak tahu that they're having the problem. So kadang-kadang that's why it's very important to interact with them so that indirectly benda tu terkeluar tau. Dan suddenly bila terkeluar, oh kenapa satu hari setengah page je boleh dapat. Then baru tahu cerita. Then baru tahu, okay, how to solve the problem. Belilah keyboard yang kecil. Cari keyboard kecil, beli. Bagi kat dia lah. So then he can do better lah. So sementara dapat tu kadang kita order pun lambat kan. So the lecturer bagi kelonggaran tulis tangan. So, instead of typing because it takes too long. So lecturer kata tak apa, buat dia tulis tangan, lecturer terima pakai tulisan tangan. So that's the kind of accommodation lah, dan yang kita boleh adopt kan untuk pelajar-pelajar ni. Ada apa lagi tak Arif yang dari segi belajar tu yang Arif rasa nak cerita lagi? Hafazan, Arif hafal Quran kan?
Oh, minta jalan ke?
Oh, okey, minta jalan. Arif ada problem minta jalan kan? Dari segi.
Oh ya, sebab kenderaan dalam UAE itu banyak sangat. Banyak. Ada kereta lah, motor. Tapi tak tahulah bila masa nak jalan. Tunggulah sampai kereta tu hilang. Kereta tu hilang, jalan tu pun dah kosong dah. Tapi boleh dah jalan. Tapi waktu banyak tu nanti jalan tu bahaya. Nanti kena langgar atau orang Tuhan.
Susah ya nak melintasi jalan ya?
Oh, tapi tunggulah sampai kereta tu hilang semua.
So, ada minta tolong kawan-kawan tak?
Oh, taklah. Oh, saya nampak polis cakaplah minta tolong.
Ada tak pakai ni tak hari ni? Ada kad autism tu tak pakai hari ni? Selalu kita minta Arif pakai kan? Sebab kad tu ada apa tu, matric card, dan juga ada kad OKU yang tulis autism lah. Jadi bila nak minta tolong tu boleh tunjukkan kad tu ya Arif. Mungkin next time boleh pakai, okay? Ya, boleh.
Oh,
Kat mana
saya
kad tu?
teringat sesuatu lah.
Okay, apa dia?
Oh tak, bila masuk kelas tu, taklah, tapi bukan semua. Bukan semua tu, tapi tak ramai. Tak ramai tu bila masuk ke kelas tu. Bila masuk ke kelas tu, nanti ada berada tu, dia tu suka main tolak kepala. Tapi tapi Kak Ayah kata jangan sedih sebab budak-budak tu dia nampak saya macam kanak-kanak.
Okay. Selalu ke dia buat ada macam tu?
Taklah, adalah beberapa hari tu.
Okay.
Tapi dia hilang dah.
Dah tak jumpa dah budak tu, dah tak buat lagi lah.
Dia dah hilang daripada UAE.
Dia dah graduate mungkin dah graduate. Power Ranger sambil dia.
Oh tak, tapi dia dah tak jumpa. Dia pun dah tak tahu dia hilang mana. Tapi Kak Ayah kata jangan sedih lah sebab dia tu tak faham tentang autism. Tapi dia tu nak bully sebab dia nampak tingkah laku saya macam kanak-kanak. Dia nak kacau lah, tapi dia tu tak faham tentang autism. Tapi tak apalah dia.
Arif pernah tak lambat datang kelas?
Oh, selalu.
Sebab apa ya? Arif tak jumpa kelas?
Oh ya, kelas tu dah hilang.
Kelas tu ya. Tak jumpa kelas ya.
Kelas tu ada banyak. Tapi taklah, tapi saya datang, tapi lambatlah.
Lepas tu bila kita lukis pelan.
Oh, lepas tu pergi ke DSU. Rosita dan Irfan tu lukis peta tu. Peta untuk pergi ke setiap kelas. Kelas tu ada 6 kelas.
Yang tu dah ada peta tu senang cari kelas.
Oh, senang.
Okey, alhamdulillah. Okey. So Arif cara belajar dia pakai mainan je. Ya, gunakan mainan je untuk bantu Arif belajar. Betul
Oh ya. Oh, kenapa?
Nak tanyalah macam mana Arif guna tu. Macam mana mainan tu membantu Arif belajar?
Oh, sebab dalam fiqh muqarrar tu, subjek fiqh muqarrar tu belajar perbandingan mazhab. Ada 4 mazhab. Yelah, ada 4 mazhab yang utama tu. Mazhab Maliki, Hambali, mazhab Hanafi, Maliki, Syafi'i dan Hambali. Ada 4. Susahlah sebab ada 4 pendapat tu berbeza-beza. Gunalah Power Rangers. Sebab imam contoh dalam bab zakat, kanak-kanak dan orang gila tu ada perbezaan pendapat. Imam Hanafi tu jadi Power Rangers hijau. Imam Maliki, Hambali dan Syafi'i tu warna biru, kuning dan pink. Mereka pun mereka tak bergaduh, tapi mereka berdebat lah. Dia kata ini wajib zakat lah. Imam Abu Hanifah kata wajib zakat sebab harta tu tak berkaitan dengan mukallaf.
So memang Power Rangers tu membantu Arif lah.
Oh, saya bawa mainan tu. Saya jalan keluar. Saya letak. Saya pun cakap lah. Tapi sebab baca buku tu banyak. saya pun berlakon lah jadi imam tu.
Ada bawa ke? Ada bawa ke? Oh, ada bawa.
Tapi ni satu, tapi bila ada persoalan 4 mazhab tu, saya keluarkanlah 4 Power Rangers.
Interesting. Berguna juga Power Rangers ni untuk belajar Alhamdulillah. Okey.
Baru teringat.
Okey.
Pergi ke tu, pergi CCSC, jumpa Kak Aira dan Kak Mira. Mainlah dengan dia. Kadang main askar.
Okey.
Baling bom Kak Aira, dia pun mati. Bukanlah. Bukan Kak Aira mati. Saya yang mati. Sebab saya selamatkan Kak Aira. Kak Aira pergi sembunyi. Saya yang mati. Dia pun cakap, Kak Aira pun cakap terima kasih. Terima kasih Arif sebab selamatkan saya. Pergi. Kadang main. Selain main perang tu, main tanah liat tu. Kadang Kak Mira tu belikan mainan Play-Doh tu, aiskrim.
Sedap tu.
Ni aiskrim.
Okey.
Kadang-kadang dia suruh saya nyanyi lagu Asyik Teru. Atau kadang suruh mengajar.
Belajar bahasa Arab kan dengan Kak Mira?
Ya, tapi dia tu pandai lah. Mungkin sebab dia muda lagi. Otak dia masih segar. Dia muda, dia faham. Kalau orang tua tu biasa susah nak faham. Sebab dah tu.
Okey.
Kak Mira tu muda. Dia tu faham cara penggunaan kalimah bahasa Arab tu. Dia dah dapat betul semua.
Wah, dapat A lah Kak Mira.
Dapat. Dia tu, tapi saya suruh dia hafal domel dalam bahasa Arab tu. Tapi dia belum hafal.
Okey. Okey, bagus tu Arif, perkongsian Arif. Ada lagi nak cerita? Dah ada tu. Ya? Okey. Terima kasih Arif, banyak information yang Arif share kan. Karakteristik Arif ni memang very unique lah. I think the most appropriate time to call Sister Haira kan, to talk about Arif. Sister Haira is our clinical psychologist yang banyaklah membantu Arif, sokongan pada Arif kan, dari segi emotional support dan sebagainya. Mungkin Sister Haira.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih, thank you to Sejahtera Centre, DSU dan juga alumni for inviting me. Okay, so actually I have been seeing Arif daripada dia undergrad lagi. Okay, rasanya dia final year first sem. Masa tu dia datang, dia cakap first yang I boleh nampak dia ada eye contact. And then second is dia cakap dia datang, dia kata dia banyak kali sesat, in which dia banyak kali datang lambat kelas, dia pergi exam, kadang-kadang dah terlepas exam sebab dia sesat. So memang yang itu memang very ketara lah yang ada something wrong. So I did the assessment as well lah untuk dia. And kita discover memang kalau kita tengok pun dia memang very, kalau Arif ni memang saya consider dia sebagai moderate lah, dia punya level. Sebab kalau nak compare kepada, saya ada jumpa Irfan juga, saya ada jumpa dia Hadi juga. So kalau nampak ada beberapa ni lah, level dia kan, kalau mild tu dia mungkin ada certain support sahaja yang diperlukan, kalau moderate tu dia lebih lagi, and then kalau severe tu it could be actually involved dengan intellectual disability. Kalau dari segi Arif ni, dia tak ada isu dari segi intellectual disability lah, tak ketara dan tak teruk. Cuma dari segi social interaction, dari segi living skill tu, dia ada problem. In which dia pernah cerita satu ketika tu dia mengaji. Dia pergi rumah orang yang dia mengajar tu. Lepas tu dia tengok tombol pintu tu. Tengok tombol pintu tu pelik tau. Tak sama macam tombol pintu yang lain-lain lah. Dia duduk kat situ, dia tengok macam mana nak buka pintu tu. Lepas tu yang itu dia punya yang dia mengajar tu adalah orang dewasa lah. Ada banyak pakcik dan makcik. Dia perasan yang Arif ni kenapa dia tenung tombol pintu tu. Lepas tu dia baru discover yang Arif ni ada autism. So banyaklah yang saya tengok. Cuma yang saya nampak ni macam Arif ni ramai lagi kesedaran dari segi autism ni orang tak tahu. Orang tak dapat. ataupun orang ada lagi ada tendensi untuk judge lah, in which Arif kadang-kadang dia ada isu dari segi emotional regulation lah. Dia punya emotion dia selalu affected because dia ada kesukaran untuk berkomunikasi ataupun bersosial. Dia faham something that is what we call kalau kita panggil dalam bahasa Melayu tersurat, benda yang memang konkret, nampak, tangible like that. Kalau orang gelak maknanya happy. Kalau orang dia takkan faham kalau gelak tu disebabkan kalau menangis tu disebabkan tangisan gembira ke apa ke, dia tak faham. Kalau menangis maknanya sedih. Macam tu je dia faham. Tapi kalau kita nak explain, dia akan tanya kenapa dia kompor tapi dia menangis. So itu adalah satu cabaran untuk kita untuk explain kat dia. Dan dia kata kenapa dia happy, dia kompor, dia dapat ni tapi dia menangis. So we have to, dia boleh faham tapi kita perlu explain. So kalau sesi saya dengan dia, kadang-kadang kita tengok dia main Play-Doh apa semua kan, tapi saya banyak kepada bila dia tak okey tu, bila sesi main Play-Doh apa semua tu, dia banyak bercerita. At that point, at that moment sebenarnya dia express lah. Dia express, dia cerita, ada orang bully dia. Kadang-kadang kita dengar pun geram lah kan. Ada orang bully dia, dia memang selalu jadi mangsa bully sebab mungkin dari segi perwatakan. Dan dari segi saya dah assess dia punya mental age pun, mental age dia kalau compare tadi dia Hadi cakap dia dalam 15, 16. Tapi kalau Arif dalam 8 ke 9 tahun dia punya mental age. So dia memang anggap dia sebagai kanak-kanak. Dia rasa diri dia memang macam kanak-kanak. Okey, kalau dengan Irfan pula, saya ulas sikit boleh Irfan? Okey. Cik Irfan ni saya rasa sebab dia dapat terapi lah daripada awal. Early intervention is really important. So dari segi walaupun tak berpanjangan sampai umur 12 tahun, tapi dia agak membantulah. Di mana saya pun dapat beberapa experience sebab saya join juga group autism apa semua. So kalau memang bila parents hantar for early intervention, ada sesetengah budak yang ada autistik, dia boleh recover. Bukanlah maksudnya the symptoms can be reduced. Dia boleh recover daripada that karakteristik of autism. Kalau mild lah, ada beberapa case. Cuma that's why lah early intervention is very important. So dari segi Arif ni kadang-kadang dia tanya saya sebab ada orang pertikaikan dekat dia, macam mana moderate boleh habis belajar, how can you graduate, kan selalunya mild. Tapi itulah kita nak explain kat dia pun sebab benda tu jadi isu. I will explain dan untuk orang yang bertanya tu saya just anggap macam dia tak faham je lah. Sebab dia Arif ni agak famous juga dekat Facebook kan. Ramai yang orang friend dengan dia, orang tahu dia, and he is the first one autistic student yang grad. So ramai orang kenal dia lah. Dan saya pun ada juga orang message saya pasal Arif. And kawan saya, doktor psychiatrist dekat Hospital Shah Alam pun kenal Arif. So dia pun, kita orang pun kadang-kadang bercerita lah pasal Arif sebab dia memang kenal Arif. So itulah experience saya dengan Arif dan juga dengan beberapa lah pelajar yang ada autism di UIA.
Terima kasih Haria. Banyak berinteraksi dengan Arif kan, saya rasa membantulah Arif pun happy kan. Kita pun nak make sure that emotionally dia okay, sebab kalau emotionally dia tak stable, sangat susahlah dia nak continue with studies sebagainya kan. Dia jadi isu lain pula kan. We have to make sure that he is stable. Sebab Arif ni dia tadi dia tak cerita, saya pun lupa nak tanya dia ada sensory issues macam macam meja makan kan, kadang-kadang ada bilik-bintik pun dia tak boleh makan dekat meja makan tu. Jadi serta-serta tempat je dia boleh makan sebab dia akan rasa macam lawyer nak muntah dan sebagainya kan. Begitu juga untuk kolej kediaman kan, in the residential colleges, he can only stay at where he is now, Mahala Farouk. At one time we had to move him because they had to do some work, renovation works. So I informed the Mahala not to move him, but somehow or other it wasn't communicated. Then suddenly he was already moved to another Mahala. He couldn't survive because it's just that the bathroom color is different, the tile color is different. Okay, it's just the color is different, so he cannot take it. So so we had to move him back, masa tu kan PKP kan. So it was quarantine, I mean the building was empty, but he said it's okay as long as he can live there, So then we have also Zaim, because Zaim is our support structure also from the student side, yeah, of volunteers. Alhamdulillah, we have people like Zaim and other students, yeah. Maybe Zaim can share, some of your experiences with Arif and maybe other students with disabilities, how you assist them.
Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Zaim. Currently a final year finance semester student from ICOL. My experience with Arif, I would say for the last of 3 years, from his undergraduate times sampai postgraduate. Early times, I would say my knowledge on ASD ataupun autism spectrum disorder is much nothing different from a normal person lah. Okay, we can communicate the same thing lah. But only when you experience with the person who is really a mild ataupun mixed spectrum, you notice some notable changes in the person, especially the traits dia. Some things that might seem normal to you, like the colors, like the cleanliness too. But in the end, you just realize that, oh, it's a big deal actually for people like Arif ataupun for other people that actually experience this thing. So throughout the past this year has been enjoyable, I would say. Although that honestly there are more tough times than the sweet times, because not only that we have not a problem of concern on volunteers punya management manpower lah, but in terms of how we have the same awareness and same, I would say, approach untuk tackle certain issue. So most of the time I've been 24/7 hotline manpower on the ground lah. Kalau prof call ke, the fellow call ke, the principal call ke, okay, Zaim, can you check on Arif boleh tak, sebab maybe he did a tantrum ke, or he's not eating ke, he's not feeling good ke, okay, kita tengok lah. So every time kalau pergi tengok tu, I would say it's a 1,001 question, because you're not expecting what is he experiencing, whether it's emotional ke, physical ke, something that you can see or not. So every time tu macam kita sifar ataupun macam try to expect the best and try to give the best. So there's one time tu, the most notable I believe that happened during PKP, where that time not many on campus, and I would say not many pun dekat Farouk tu sendiri. So back then I was staying at Mahala Usman. I think it's something that quite recent.
Yang dia tak buka pintu tu.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kita buka pintu. So Prof called me around 11:30 PM. Prof kata he's not responding for calling and whatnot kan. So I went to his room dekat Block F 2.4. Dekat level 2 bukan kat level 1. So level 2 ni kalau you are in, ni tak ada grill tau dekat tingkap itu. So I try to open the door, and that time kucing-kucing ni semua betul-betul depan bilik 3-4 ekor nak masuk tak boleh. So macam Arif love his cats. So maybe Allah gunakan sense kepada kucing dia apa kan. So pada we bang his door and multiple times. Kita jerit-jerit pun tak angkat, sebab Prof kata jangan jerit lagi, dia akan block out everything kan, sebab he doesn't answer his calls. So time tu Farouk dia ada macam police officer yang jaga kat bawah tu. But before that I call the hotline kata okay, you reach out kepada officer yang bawah tu, and then we call lah. And after that panggil first awesome datang, ketuk pintu tak buka-buka. I think time tu like half an hour, almost midnight. So and then we call the officer from the center tu, and then dia datang pun tak buka juga. So time tu what the officer wants to do is to hentak pintu sampai pecah. I was like tak boleh, sebab there's a high chance that he is hurting himself ke, because we don't know how the situation, and kita nak crop out daripada window pun macam tak boleh, sebab it's quite high kan.
At the time he was quite distraught, I think, but from what he wrote on the Facebook, so that's why we were quite scared.
Yeah, so what he wrote on the Facebook and what we infer after quite a period of time, macam anything will happen. So back then, so macam time tu we bang the door very loud, and finally he opened the door. Kita tanya-tanya pun macam tak respond. So he opened the door, dia masuk kompartmen dia crawl up into fetal position. So macam like okay, time tu memang kita nampak is disturbed, he doesn't want to eat and whatnot lah. So that time tu, I would say from the officer punya perspective, they have a clear idea that okay, there's a student yang OKU, but they don't really have a trained punya approach untuk how to deal with it, especially sebab first rule you have to save the life first, and then kita tengok kepada dia punya circumstances apa kan. So I believe that these are one of the main experience lain daripada macam bawa dia pergi DSU ke, even untuk bawa dia cross jalan daripada bilik ke Econ, whether to go for ATM, it could wait up to 50 minutes. Sebab dia sendiri tak boleh ada, bukan, it's not a matter of courage ataupun confidence level to cross the jalan tu, but it's a matter of neural, physical, neuron something kan. Coordination dia untuk feel safe, and then baru dia boleh jalan dalam keadaan okay, dia selamat. So whatever, I believe that in that state tu, for an autism person, it's tough jugalah to deal, especially macam you are dealing with the mixed spectrum. That's the first thing. Second, you might believe that the first tactic that you did before could never happen atau treat the same issue twice. So kalau dia sakit ke, it's a different thing. And the most challenging part, sebab Kaira kata dia have a mental age of 8 or 7 years punya kan. So you really have to have that mindset you are dealing with a child lah. So what you deal with a child is actually you kena marah dia. Dia tak boleh nak macam go orang macam bukanlah lampu, you panas, bukanlah kipas, but it doesn't work like that. So you have to go down to their level and macam okay, understand and be the most patience kot, sebab kalau dia tak
abang dia lah,
macam abang
dia.
So macam just like you be there, you macam layan, you matter how tired ke, you macam dia nak makan but dia tak nak makan, but sama dia nak merinda, dia tak nak ni tapi tak boleh makan ni. So he's very particular about a lot of things. So about a lot of things you believe that macam okay, I tak nak trigger tantrum dia because it could get worse. So you have to have the option, okay, you take down one by one. Okay, dia nak main Play-Doh, you bagi dia main Play-Doh. Dia nak buka baju, dia nak cool him down, okay, you ease him whatever you tak tahu what is happening kan. So being a volunteer, walaupun for his case it's a exposure lah. One that I believe that I had more professional training, sebab all the time macam dia tak tahu what should do, what should you do, what should not do kan. Even kalau you know, if you want to, macam dia cerita tadi, like you want to go to classes, you want to go to, I would say basic necessity social skills in our life, in our campus pun tak really accommodate on the people like him. So like we shun inclusivity and whatnot kan, but in the end it's not really accessible, especially for people like him, walaupun they are the minority, and that's the fact we have to live in line in the world nowadays. So apart from awareness, I believe that macam organising this conversation, talking is really important, sebab people they want to know and they want to help, but at some point they don't know how to help, and the worst part is where they want to help, they do the wrong thing. So that's what we try to educate, make things work right, and like tapi tak payah tolong lah pastinya. So it's something that we should not be heading to, but in the name of awareness, the students part, especially societies, aside from budget constraint lah, we have to realize that macam the Sejahtera concept ke ataupun SDG ke, especially for autism ni, some might say macam renyah gila, you want to accommodate one big module program atau small program to make it accessible kepada autistic. For instance, you don't use certain colours, you make the pictures more brighter ke, you make the pictures more besar ke. So but these are the little things that people will appreciate and will later on promote the inclusivity kan. So macam even in the middle of the program kan, like kita nampak macam contoh Hadi Israeli, macam dia kata tadi dia tak boleh nak stay for how long and then dia terbangun.
Tak apa, it's okay. Go for it's okay.
So macam it's something that in our being a normal person, we have to accept that okay, akan ada people in the group of people dia tiba-tiba bangun. So that's something that very peculiar lah kan, like kenapa dia tiba bangun, like you are not expecting the majlis ke bukan, but in a person, living a person or attending to a person with disabilities or autism ni, we have to be particular as the first thing. Second thing, most importantly, you have to have the open up punya attitude and try to assist whatever that you can lah. And the final part of not only autism ataupun other part is how you can convey the message to other people that you should not be afraid to approach them walaupun they're acting childish or acting in a bad situation that you wish not to participate. Because in the end, we might be the only lifesaver that they only have lah. So my last word, being a volunteer is a tough job. Not only you pergi baji ke, you help people with elderly ke, but to know the target group that you are supporting, attending to is very much important because they believe that they might not have the same person that help them, but you might learn something new lah to what actually you want to do.
Macam person with autism macam Arif, Hadi, sometimes they have difficulty to express themselves to ask for help.
Confidence.
So what is the role of the non-disabled student or community? Okay? I think should they be the ones holding out their hand to reach out to our students? Because they are the ones who are non-disabled, isn't it?
True.
Because for our disabled students, autistic students, they don't know, how to reach out. So perhaps it's our duty, the non-disabled, to actually reach out to them and maybe approach and ask them, how can I support you? Or, be their friend. I think the most important thing is to be their friend, and accept them as who they are.
Prof, I think I would like to add apart from like the I would not say non-disabled because in general, all human are created equal, guys. But in terms of macam ableness too, we are different. It's just that the one thing in common that we share is that both normal and non-able punya situation of people ni, we have that same macam confidence issue, macam just whether to reach out or not, kind of thing. But I think the thing that could be promoted to boost macam inclusivity, okay, contoh dalam ini kelas, you macam the lecturer to announce, okay, we have a disabled student. So the ikut macam sisa suami macam physically seen ke ataupun macam Arif ke kan. So macam the lecturer could introduce, okay, you guys can pair up together. So like the lecturer tu, you open up the hand ataupun the people in the community leaders, so macam okay, we have this group here. So you guys are allowed to mingle around. So we open your ways to lah. So I think that is one of the way to confidence. So for students, it really is I would not say tough, but it's a collaborative effort untuk help one another, especially when you live in a mahala. You know that jiran you sebelah is actually Asperger ataupun autism, ataupun for instance kalau dia tak non-disabled pun, okay, contoh his father just died. So it could be just moral support.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I think that's important to support each other, right? And I think for students with hidden disabilities like autism, or ADHD, I think it's very important. I think the lecturer has got an important role to play to actually explain to the peers lah, at least to the group members. Kata that's group work, okay? Because otherwise, if the group members do not understand, I think there can be issues lah in terms of contribution, in terms of how they can actually work together, kan? So I think it's actually also a good exposure to the students. Sometimes we think it's going to be, the group will be at a disadvantage, but actually they will learn in the process actually, So it's something that they cannot get in regular classrooms, having a special needs group member, I think can actually teach them a lot of things that they cannot get elsewhere. So this is where I think lecturers can also help out, in terms of educating, and of course for us to support students with disabilities, we actually we require students to allow us to disclose their situation. Okay, all right. Okay.
Prof, if I may add, I think situation like what Hadi has shared with us is very unfortunate lah, because not only that the lecturers are not aware of his condition, but his friends also do not know. So you cannot survive, especially in engineering, right? To survive on your own, right? So that is where accommodation I would not say it's not the advantage for people with needs to start because they're really in the two. But we should be more supportive. Okay, they need help, so macam kita kena allow.
We have to be accommodative, accommodative lah, because everybody is different, the needs are different, yeah. So so we need to actually accommodate in order to assist them, kan? Okay. Maybe I can ask. I ask Dr. Aida dulu, ya. Dr. Aida is a parent, has got a son, okay, in Islamic college, yeah, or Islamic college, and your son is also with autism. And he's doing well academically as well, right? Alhamdulillah. So perhaps you can share in terms of as a parent, yeah, what are your perhaps your concerns, your grievances, you know, when letting out your child to be, you know, in the university, you know, before that they're in a protective environment, then you let them go to a university. How would you feel? What is it that you expect from the university community, for instance?
It's as parents of special needs children, we tend to be more anxious than others. I think there's quite a bit of research and quite a few people have said that in webinars and so forth, that parents tend to be a little bit more anxious because we worry because it's a vulnerable, you know, child that we're dealing with, or a vulnerable teenager or adult, and then we're letting him into the mainstream, you know, society. And although it's a college, and you know, but still, it seems very big, you know, and you have to be very brave to let him out. You get anxious about how people perceive your different, you know, your adult son, my adult son, who is a bit different compared to others. You get anxious. I'm always monitoring him, and I always keep in touch with his lecturers as well, because in International Islamic College there's no DSU, you know, but they have quite a few students with autism there and dyslexia and so forth, and they deal it amongst themselves. You know, if there's a behavioral problem, the lecturers will come together and help sort it out. You know, they'll calm him down or something like that. But alhamdulillah, my son doesn't have a behavioral problem, alhamdulillah, but there are others who may have, and so the lecturers somehow they told me they work it out, you know, themselves. They're very empathetic over there, which is very, very good. The thing is it's a bit hard. On one hand, you know that you've got somebody who has challenges. On the other hand, you do want him to get a fair assessment, like, you know, to be assessed like everybody else. If he's good like everybody else. So that is where, you know, he's got challenges, like he is not very verbal. So, you know, I tell the lecturers, it's a bit hard for him to defend himself, because there are lecturers who will want to, you know, ask him to explain why is it this, you know, use this or that, whatever, and then why not that, and they'll go on and on about it. So he finds it hard, you know, to explain. He knows what it is, but he finds it hard to explain. So I do tell the dean even that he's got challenges, he's got a communication problem. Please don't judge him like other students. He's good at some things. His maths is very good. He can, you know, better than mine even, you know, I forgot my maths, I think. And he will quickly catch and do things on his own. But it required many years of training him to do that. It wasn't easy for him, and from the beginning. So alhamdulillah, since school, we've been training him to sit down, do his homework, and then at the same time I'm working. So it's not that, you know, I'm not working, I'm working at the same time and monitoring him at the same time. And I appreciate that the college has many staff who are, or everyone is very supportive, and they are willing to hear my advice or read my WhatsApps and do something about it, which is really good. And that's what you need. You just need some people to be understanding, right? And then that helps in getting him to learn. I'm a bit anxious again after this because he's got short semester. That's only one course, but next semester is FYP, okay? And then the following semester is internship. A bit nervous about the internship because he's never really worked before. So and because of the COVID situation, I was thinking of putting him in working part-time somewhere, but the thing, because of the COVID situation, is a bit hard because people are not willing to take in extra workers, and what more if they have to accommodate him. So I was thinking, okay, never mind, I'll put it to later a bit. So that just to see whether he's okay with he's very good routine at college, but this is work. Work is different. Yeah, so I'm a bit worried about that. And I'm thinking, I already put on my Facebook as well, I'm looking for internship place for my son. And there's some nice people who have responded. I need to monitor and bring in maybe a job coach and see how we're going to get him in. And then maybe slowly, because it's in computer science. So maybe slowly, gradually build on that. My husband's a bit scared about that because he said, are people going to understand him? Are people going to accommodate? Are people going to be, bullying him or not? So there's all those things. So we're not sure yet. We'll see. I have to sit with the dean and maybe talk about his internship later. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Aida. I think that's a very insightful, account of what the parents actually have to go through, the anxiety. I can understand, I'm like a parent to all these 86, 7 students in the disabled students. So even in the middle of the night, sometimes there are issues we have to try to accommodate them. Perhaps we have Dr. Sophia actually. She has recorded her response. I've actually requested her to give a response because she's not able to join us physically because she has some other appointment. Dr. Sophia is actually a lecturer of Arif, okay, and she has been very, very accommodative and supportive of Arif. And also I've asked her to also share in terms of how do Islam actually see, supporting persons with autism, right, from the viewpoint of Islam. So if you can, share the video from Dr. Sophia.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Alhamdulillah, di kesempatan ini saya mengalu-alukan semualah yang bersama-sama dengan kita pada hari ini. Dan saya Dr. Sejahtera Centre daripada Departmen Al-Quran dan Sunnah, Ahas, Abu Sulaiman Abdul Hamid, Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Knowledge and Human Sciences. Dan perkongsian hari ini adalah lebih kepada pengalaman, dan terima kasih kepada Prof. Zita yang sentiasa berusaha untuk memberikan ruang kepada student with special needs, pelajar-pelajar yang mempunyai keperluan yang istimewa, dan apa yang ingin saya kongsikan mungkin boleh menjawab dua persoalan yang diajukan oleh Prof. Rosita. Pertama tentang bagaimana saya cuba untuk meningkatkan kemampuan akademik ada seorang student saya yang memang saya santuni sejak daripada 3 tahun yang lalu semasa beliau masih di peringkat bachelor, iaitu Nur Arif Jasmine. Dan juga satu lagi tentang bagaimana Islam melihat kepada golongan yang istimewa inilah. Okay. Saya nak kongsikan dua perkara ini ataupun menjawab dua persoalan berdasarkan pengalaman. Alhamdulillah, sepanjang pengalaman saya berada di bumi Jordan, itu di University of Jordan Amman, saya juga ditakdirkan Allah untuk mempunyai seorang pensyarah yang juga di kalangan special needs, di kalangan mereka yang mempunyai keperluan yang istimewa, iaitu Profesor Dr. Fadhal Hasan Abbas. Beliau merupakan seorang alim yang antara yang terkenal di bumi Jordan pada ketika itu, semasa saya berada di sana dalam lingkungan lebih pada tahun 1992 hingga 1995, dan beliau adalah seorang yang seorang yang matanya tidak boleh nampak lah, kalau dalam bahasa Arab panggil kafif. Okey, tetapi pada awal saya berada di dalam kelas beliau, saya lihat bagaimana kemampuannya untuk menggarap idea-idea, membentangkan
So Alhamdulillah, we had Dr. Sophia sharing. Actually, she was actually I watched the full video. She actually said that how she actually, her approach of how she helped Arif is actually her sincerity, sincerity of to help other people, because she was holding on to this hadith that says that if you don't your iman is not complete if you don't love your fellow human brother as much as you love yourself, right? So she was holding on to that hadith and and practicing and implementing it, and apart from the nice support that she gave to Arif, explaining the details in terms of the research paper that Arif was explaining about, is actually Dr. Sophia was explaining to him, detail one by one. First introduction, then what, every single step of the way until he completes the research paper. So apart from that, she also, make a lot of dua, for Allah to assist and help her to best help the students with special needs. Yeah, so I think sometimes we forget about that component. We think that okay, what can we do as person, but we forget that that's one additional element that the most powerful of all, that can actually help us. We seek the help of Allah as well, right? To also ease our way and also and help us, guide us in terms of how we can best help our children and our students with disabilities. Okay, before I got a few questions here, but I think I would like to hear from Dr. Hasna again. Okay, from what you have heard, in terms of the experiences of our students with autism, what they go through, the challenges that they face, and then also from clinical psychology, the kind of support, and also our volunteer. Dr. Zul, thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Zul, Deputy Director, thank you so much. He's very busy today, but sempat datang. Kita nak one another round with Dr. Hasna, so maybe can elaborate in terms of the different supports, the different support that actually we can opt for in terms of how we can assist our students with autism.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I was discussing with Prof. Zita, and the IIUM Disability Service Unit is producing a guideline for academicians, for lecturers, explaining to them what are the steps that they can take to help the students. For example, in the field of special education, we have two terms called accommodations and modifications. How you can provide some accommodations, meaning that, for example, extra time for assignments, extra time for examinations, and perhaps if the student has sensory issues, you might want to have him have his exam in a special room by himself. There are many steps of accommodations that we can do, and also modification. And I think that IIUM again is leading this field of supporting students with disabilities on campus by allowing students flexibility in the time they need to complete their studies. And I think IIUM is the first ever university in Malaysia that's doing that. So yeah, so congratulations. And I think UITM is closely following suit. In UKM, I think we are still discussing about it. But having IIUM leading the way, then it'll be easier for us to adopt and adapt. And for modifications, you are actually changing how things are done, just so that you can help the students to graduate. So you can have that in a booklet or in an ebook, and you can disseminate that to your staff, not just the teaching staff, but also the support staff, so that they understand better. But I like what Dr. Sophia shared just now. Doesn't matter how thick your booklet for guidance, or whether it's in hard copy or soft copy, but if you don't have the hardware, this is what the Prime Minister of Singapore said, not hardware but hardware. And I'm really hoping that IUM, which is my alma mater, will really lead the way, being an Islamic university. And I think we have a lot to learn from IUM. We in UKM, we managed to mentor one young man with autism, and he graduated, and now we're also helping him to see if we could help him get a job. And we learned a lot from his experience, our experience with him. And I think that's another thing that I want to share with everybody. It's not just the students learning from you, but you have a lot to learn from them. And people call me an expert in autism, but I always feel that whenever I talk to individuals with autism, I learn a lot from them, because the spectrum and the comorbidity, and another thing that we have to bear in mind is the impact of family culture on a person's characteristic. You might have parents who are overprotective because they feel for their child with disabilities, and they might be overprotective. And therefore, when that student comes into your classroom, they might be a little bit clingy, because they are so used to having their parents do lots of things for themselves. So you're not just talking about the disability, but the family culture as well. So that is why the hardware is very important, where you need to keep your mind open for all sorts of possibilities. And again, what Dr. Sophia said, being Muslims, we believe that our iman will not be complete until we love our brothers and sisters as much as we love ourselves. And I think that's really beautiful. Yes. And I think Islam has the answer for all issues, and it's just us who have not been, keeping in touch with our Islamic roots. Yes. in our effort to help our brothers and sisters who have disabilities.
Over to you. That's true. Thank you very much, Tasna. Actually, we learned a lot from you. I think it's very apt. I think all of us are alumni here. It's an alumni lounge.
If I could share this, being proud of being an alumni mater of IIUM, Dr. Rosalinda Alias, who's the main advocate in UITM, is a graduate from IIUM. And in UPM, we have Dr. Arni Dawati, and in UKM, we also have Dr. Aizan Sophia. And we find that the similarities that we have among advocates of OKU in Malaysia is that we studied in IIUM. Alhamdulillah.
We hope to have more, even from the non-disabled community, more of our friends. And to
I think everybody here
has
the potential to become OKU advocates.
Correct. Betul. Thank you very much, Dr. Hasna. Can I maybe have read out these 3 questions that we picked out? Okay, number 1, I have a question from an alumni. In general, is an adult with autism aware or not that he or she has autism? Anybody would like to answer that? I'm looking at either Khairia or Hasna.
How about the students?
How about
Hadi or Arif?
Hadi mungkin kat Hadi, because you were diagnosed late kan?
Saya rasa macam saya biasa je.
You tak tahu that you have autism?
Saya pun tak tahu, macam when the prof tanya saya apa yang what special need that I want. I sendiri pun I don't know what special need that I want.
Ya, betul. That's why sometimes we have to converse, kita sembang-sembang, then we can identify your needs, in the process kan. So that's why sometimes kita sembang tu, kita panggil datang dia. Itu kadang-kadang bukan sembang saja-saja. Kadang-kadang tu we pick up information yang sebelum ni kan kita pun surprise, like certain things yang we learn kan, even Arif, I'm still learning a lot of things from him. New things yang kita tak discover kan. So
there's a proverb in English. It says that only the fish does not aware of the existence of water. Yeah, only the fish. Because it's part of the environment. So it's who they are.
Okay, now the second question, I think boleh jawab aku Through experience, how many people with autism recover? Is there a chance for them to be someone normal? Actually, we don't use the word normal lah kan.
May I answer this?
Alright.
This is very important. In autism, we don't talk about recovery. We don't talk about recovery. We believe that autism is a lifelong condition. And we have teachers and parents who have seen how their children have grown from the benefits of early intervention and good special education. And they are almost as normal as other people, but we would caution for everybody not to use the word recover casually, because we have noticed that on the outside, they might look that as if they're okay, but you don't know. They might go through hiccups, depression, anxiety, and therefore it's good that they have overcome some of the challenges that they have. But we don't say that you have recovered from autism. And I think the autism community, just like the deaf community, they're very proud of their condition. Whether you call it a disability or whatever it is, but they are happy to be who they are. And I was just talking to one of the staff in UKM, and she was asking me, is it okay for us to use a puzzle as a symbol for autism in this month of April, or should we use another logo? And I said that we have been using a puzzle as a symbol for autism for many decades. There's nothing wrong with a puzzle. A puzzle is just a piece of game, and the reason why autism is being represented by a puzzle is because we are urging people to understand them better. We think that they are a puzzle, but we can have better understanding of them. So there's nothing wrong with being autism. This morning again, somebody asked me, Dr. Hasna, could I introduce you as a parent with two young sons with autism? I said, yeah, fine. Everybody knows that I have two sons with autism, and I don't have any, it doesn't cause me any embarrassment, and we believe that all human beings are created by Allah, and it is Allah's choice to have them to have autism. And akal kita tak panjang, akal kita manusia tak panjang. We don't understand why our children might have autism, but it is our responsibility, it's our amanah to do the best. And being embarrassed by our son's condition, I think, will not help anybody at all.
Yes, it's true.
So going back to the question, there's no recovery in autism, but they are okay, but they are okay.
Yeah, okay. Inshallah, they are okay. Okay, the last question is actually to Arif. Arif, boleh jawab tak? Okay, salam Arif. Pernah tak lecturer tak bagi kerjasama dalam menyiapkan kerja yang diberi? Ada tak lecturer tak bantu Arif untuk siapkan kerja? Pernah tak? Pernah tak lecturer tak bantu Arif untuk buat assignment? Untuk explain assignment? Tak ada. So far lecturer semua tolong Arif. Ya.
Semua.
Ya.
Semua baik.
Semua baik. Alhamdulillah. 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 Tadi ada kes bully ya, betul. Kita kena bagi tahu dengan Dr. Director tu, tonjol kepala dia. Okay. So that one, I think we take note of that. Actually memang kita pun acknowledge that we still need to actually enhance our awareness, empathy, across our IIM community. It is not something that is easy to be done, right? And yeah, but inshallah we'll continuously do it because our students also comes and goes, and we hope that they are future leaders hopefully, some little knowledge that we impart to them, to better understand persons with autism and with other types of disabilities as well, can actually help them to become better persons and better leaders also, inshallah, right? Because this is actually a responsibility, to actually for the country, for the leaders to take care of the needs, right, of the disadvantaged groups, right? And at the same time, of course, we also try to help each other, right? And to our students, right, and our community, we know that our students with autism, they sometimes do not know what they need, right? And they have problems reaching out to us. So we are the ones who do not have that social impairment. So we need to actually.
If I could add to your statement, like they don't know what they need, perhaps we can rephrase it and say that they don't know what is out there for them to get support.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Actually, they don't know what's out there, what is available to them that they can actually use, right? To support them. Okay. So, but yeah. Kan Kamera? Kamera mana? Ada datang Kamera?
Tadi datang.
Oh, ya mana? Mana Kamera? Oh, dah balik office. Oh, dia tak perasan Kamera tadi. Okay. Tak apa, nanti kita jumpa Kamera. Kamera is another counselor. Alright? Okay. Alright. So I think with that, we have come to the end of the session. Yeah. So I think thank you very much again to all our speakers, to our students with autism. Unless Adam or Irfan nak cakap apa-apa kan? Tak nak? Adam nak cakap apa-apa? Tak nak. Okay. Adam dulu kita punya presiden kan? Kita bukan. Sekarang Aswani is our vice president. Okay. Daniel ada kelas rasanya kan. So okay, so
perhaps we can have them share what they actually aspiration to their friends ke.
Okay. Apa harapan you? What is your aspiration? What is it that you hope? What is it that you hope from your friends?
I think what I hope from my friends is, don't be afraid if don't be afraid to get support from the SU. Don't worry, the SU is always there to help you. And I think that's it.
Okay, what about your other friends yang non OKU? Ada tak?
And then for my friends that maybe you guys are watching, and if you see that your friend maybe behave differently, or maybe please try get in touch with them, and give them support that they need, because who knows, maybe they are suffering, and also maybe they need some help from us. And give support to them.
That is very true. I think sometimes we and our society is very quick to judge. Whenever somebody does not conform to the norm, okay, then we are quick to judge, which is something I think we need to learn not to do that, because people have issues that we do not know sometimes, right? And these are valid issues which sometimes they do not have control over it, right? So I think with that, thank you again to Dr. Hasna, Dr. Aida, Irfan, Dr. Zul. You will give you a closing remarks. Arif, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Hadi, Adam, and Aswani, and Suhaimi is helping out with us. Darwish is also our OKU student. All right, and then we have Darwish. You want to say something? As a student leader, the president of student union, can you say something? Perhaps what you can do, in terms of how do you mobilize a student union, to assist our students yang special needs. Boleh datang depan, tak orang nak tengok. Ada boleh nampak dia. Okey. Dia nampak, boleh dengar kan?
On behalf of normal students and overall students.
Dekat sini tak dengar.
IIM community.
Can you come closer? The mic is not picking up. Come closer.
Boleh dengar.
Boleh dengar. Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Again, Darwish and Hafiza, and perhaps on behalf of all IIM community, not only students but including the overall community in campus. Perhaps it's a very first of all, it's a weird experience of mine having a life in this campus where we are being put into situation where we have various differences among each others, and it started weird, but somehow I believe everyone can relate to this experience. It started weird, but somehow from time to time and until the end of it, we find from that differences, it's actually what makes us very special. And I believe in every single soul, every single human being, there will be kind of greatness inside of us. And even when we are at our lowest point of life, and even when we are feeling like we are giving up, when we just face some kind of failures and something, that greatness is still there. And we are the one who shall trigger the greatness to ourselves. And actually, our friends, they can see our greatness, and we can see our friends' greatness and special things. So not only we put the burden to themselves to find their greatness, but perhaps we can trigger our friends' greatness to them, because sometimes they feel insecure. They didn't have the confidence, and actually everyone is great on their own way. And same goes to this wonderful friends of mine. I met you in last year. And Brother Daniel, the current president, is actually my senior in the Quran. And it's very wonderful how a blind person can memorize 30 juz of Quran. His batch is the first batch who can finish 30 juz in the Quran. Before him, there are students memorize Quran with a different method, like what normal students like us do. But they find struggle. And in any struggles, when we feel the struggles, it feels like it's impossible. But when Brother Daniel comes, his batch proved that impossible is actually possible. And then he created another wonderful magic. He came to UAE and have his own degree. And Brother Jaime, we met at cafes. Actually, I think on weekly basis.
That's good. Alhamdulillah.
Amer can engage with community just like us, and I can see how they experience their normal life like normal students. And as a normal friend of them, I'm very happy of these wonderful friends, and I hope they know and confident with their greatness and values. And I hope the normal people, overall community, can also understand this concept that we are all special on our own way, and that specialty is what we should uphold together and put aside the negativity. We focus on the positive side. So I think this kind of program is very much important, Prof. And the whole community, thank you so much to make this happen. And these messages shall be spread on daily basis.
Yes, we need the student union to help us spread the word, inshallah. We need this close connection with student union, with our IMAC, and all our other students as well, volunteers as well. So thank you very much, Darwish. So actually all of us are normal. All of us are normal. So what distinguishes is just the differences that we have, impairments, and what Allah has given us, right? But all of us are normal, and that's why sometimes if you to look at the disabled community and the person with disabilities, they are a bit touchy about the use of the word normal. So that's why they use the word disabled and non-disabled, okay? Because everybody is considered normal, we lead a normal life. That's why we need to be to live a full life as well. So that's where I think we need to interact and support each other, and together we can be happy in line with the happiness week, alhamdulillah, right? So alhamdulillah. So again, thank you very much to all the speakers, semua, Sejahtera Centre, Brother Dean. Okay, and I pass it back to our MC. Okay,
thank you very much, Visita, for moderating this session, as well as all of our speakers. Honestly, first of all, I am personally moved. Even my colleagues, we were like texting, wow, these stories they just move our hearts, as well as knowing that we have an autistic community on our campus is not the same with actually knowing their specific experiences shared by the students as well as the scholars here. So we would like to thank again our moderator, Prof. Rizta, as well as the speakers, and we would like to welcome very much Dr. Sejahtera Hassan, the Deputy Director for Student Development and Community Engagement, for making your time here, as well as our student leaders from IM Student Union, Brother Darwish and Sister Hafiza. Thank you for coming, it means a lot. We would like to invite Dr. Sejahtera Hassan to
Closing remarks.
Move on to the next session.
Thank you for coming with your busy schedule. Very packed schedule today.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Sister Idayu, Prof. Zita, Dr. Asna, everyone, the panelists, including virtually our participants. Ladies and gentlemen, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude and heartfelt thanks to everyone for organizing such a wonderful discourse, intellectual discourse. We need more of this kind of discourse, because this will create more awareness, consciousness, and even more efforts and spirits for us to work beyond, and inshallah to work more and harder for the sake of betterment of everyone. So just I'm very delighted today, even to when I listen to the khutbah, meaning that I'm not sleeping yet. And Imam the Khatib talk about the World Autism Days, talk about the responsibility. And today, alhamdulillah, I'm very one of the most, I think, touching moments. Okay, during the khutbah, talk about the disability, talk about the awareness about the disabled students, about disabled community. And I really thank you to Prof. Rita, who initiated the idea. And alhamdulillah, today, inshallah, we'll continue that kind of advocacy, not only talk about in this kind of, but using the existing platforms, khutbah, kuliah, tazkirah, that we need to contribute. So in the part of the university, alhamdulillah, we have our anchor, this ADSU, supported by our IMAC. So this is wonderful since 2012. And I must admit, I'm new, and I learned a lot from your activism, right? And from this perspective, what we want to do from the university's perspective, that number one, we want to improve the accessibility and the support system for the disabled. And number two, we want to enhance the quality of life of the disabled person with disabilities. And number three, we also want to create the kind of bi'ah solihah. Bi'ah solihah doesn't mean only dress code, cover the aura. Bi'ah solihah also means that you respect everyone, the disabled friendly environment. And finally, we also take care, also very concerned about your career, about your future. So we want also to make sure that you can, after you graduate, you can have jobs, you can do many things, okay, to earn livings and so on. So this is what we want to do. But yeah, a lot of things need to be done, but we need to start somewhere. And alhamdulillah, we can see that a lot of improvement. I still remember when Salim shared, during that time, what really touched my heart. Salim during his matriculation day, nobody, I think, no facilities at all. Okay, no facilities. When I asked him, what about when you in Gomorrah? This is like heaven, sugar, because they have the facilities, they have the support, his friends provide the ecosystem. So this is what we want to do. We want to bring more people, bring more students to IIM. In fact, during the convocation day, it's really touched again my heart when I can saw and witness a lot of our disabled students graduated with a happy face, smiling, their parents. So this is, I think that's it. We don't want anything else. Okay, the happiness of our students, the happiness of our community. So hopefully that we can work together. We need your expertise, we need your support, we need your dua, inshallah. So let us put our heart. Okay, inshallah, we can work together. And for me, right, whatever that we do now is considered as investment. Okay, it's very, very selfish for me. Okay, when we work someone, it's not for them only, for ourselves, for the investment in the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Sejahtera Hassan. The students, especially this Prof. Rizda mentioned about IMSU working closely. If you have any proposal on how to empower the disabled community, come to Prof. Zul. It's very open and very empowering of the students. So for next, we would like to express our gratitude to the speakers. For that, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Zulkifli to deliver and present the token of appreciation to our speakers.
Kat situ. Boleh.
I would like to invite Professor Dr. Rizita Muhammad Amin.
Oh, buat.
Saya bagi dulu.
Tu dah ni okey. Boleh. I just did.
Let me get out of the room.
Okay, no problem. Okay, stay put.
And the frame.
Okay, ada gambar?
Gambar. Ada gambar.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Alright, thank you all.
Okay, invite brother Nur Arif Johnson, our student here.
Arif, this is for you. Okay. Put it, Arif. Yeah. Okay, Arif, well done. Thank you.
We'd like to invite brother Wan Abdul Hadi Wanasi.
Hadi.
Thank you.
And thank you also to Associate Professor Dr. Hasna Toran.
Dr. Hasna, thank you, Dr. Hasna.
My pleasure to be here. And let me invite Associate Professor Dr. Aida Mokhtar. Sister Khairiyah Abdul Razak, clinical psychologist from our very own CSO.
Ini semua kroni yang saya ni. Kroni saya boleh.
And last but not least, definitely Brother Muhammad Zaim.
Oh, Zaim.
At PSC as well as IO. Kita dapat foto sama. Thank you very much, Dr. Speakers. For a while. As previously I mentioned that on 20th of March, we launched this. And today is the closing event for Sejahtera Week. So here's a summary of the programs that happened throughout the December.
On the other side boleh nampak kan?
Yes.
Organizers and everyone who is present here virtually as well as physically. We hope that
Also the sign language interpreter.
Sign language interpreters.
I was looking at them and how fast they were.
Please go. Thank you, MFD, Malaysian Federation of the Deaf. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We hope that everyone benefits something from it, as well as we know better how to treat our community with better, more sense of compassion, justice, as well as humanity. So let us adjourn our meeting with Tasbih Karam and Surah Al-Asr.
Bismillah.
Thank you, Mrs. Go.
Okay, Kak, terima kasih.
I love you. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you.